When dropping big bucks for luxury goods, especially instruments, it should be known that after a certain level of cash, the rising benefits of acoustic quality will stop, and you'll enter a strata that's far more limitless, the realm of paying for visually pleasing materials. It's just like investing in gold lining for your toilet or getting a velvet headpiece for your toilet. Take shakuhachi. You can have two shakuhachi with roughly the same acoustic quality, but one will be $10,000 higher than the other simply because it has a natural tiger stripe pattern in the bamboo, or it has silver or gold ornaments on it. Again, things that won't increase the sound quality, but it looks nice. You're paying for the artwork if you're into that sort of thing. Same is true for shamisen. However, among players, there's, I believe, more misunderstandings when it comes to the connection between the visual element and actual practical acoustic benefits. Players will think that, for example, the Ayasugi bori, the carving in the do, will improve the sound quality, or the gold fittings in the joints, another thing that's only done for the high-end instruments. They will feel that this also improves the sound quality. I am suspect of that, and I think I have history on my side. Back in the day, a customer would only receive Ayasugi bori and Kinbozo if they spent $10,000 to $30,000 or more, yen equivalent, in highly figured wood. High figured wood will have, tiger stripe patterns, just amazingly gorgeous wood. Nothing to do with sound quality, but it looks so nice. Only then will the craftsman, by hand, carve the Ayasugi pattern into the do and add Kinbozo, the gold fittings, into the joints. Well, if this had a real acoustic practical benefit, I think they would offer options for, lesser sol. For example, take zagane, the metal fittings for the itomaki. There is a real practical benefit for having the wood to metal contact. When the itomaki are lathed right, they turn very smooth and don't lock up much. Whereas wood to wood contact, not only can the wood wear out, but if there's humidity or damp weather, the wood can swell and cause real problems when turning the itomaki. So there is a practical reason for it. And because the craftsmen are practical too, they offer different grades. For example, high-end shamisen like this, they use gold-plated zagane. For lower entry-level shamisen, they'll use copper zagane. Well, if they offer copper for that, why don't they have copper fittings for the joints? After all, either way, they're making the joint. Putting in the metal sleeve is not much more work, especially if you pay a little more, that won't matter anyway. However, they don't. It's only gold or nothing at all. So that's that. Delving into this a bit further, some folks will claim that the gold fittings will improve the resonance of the sol, even though the contact between the tenon and the mortise is only about 2 to 3 millimeters. Even though the tenon itself is about a centimeter, there's very little that's actually contacting. It's only at the final point when the joints come together. Just 2 to 3 millimeters, is that really going to make a noticeable difference? So that's for Kinbozo. Ayasugi, it's a little different. Back in the day, it was all carved by hand when you got the most premium wood. Now, I believe for Tsugaru Shamisen, the only do with Ayasugi are made by Tokyo Gaki. In fact, they make most of the do even for other makers who will just make the sol. And when they make Ayasugi, they use a CNC machine because nobody has time for that anymore. And this too, players will claim that its purpose is to improve the sound quality. Now, again, with history, this was only carved in when the customer bought a sol with the highest beauty points. It was just to give the full masterpiece treatment. I agree there possibly could be a difference. After all, there are physical ridges here that could affect the way this sound waves bounce. I have shamisen with both Ayasugi and Maruuchi do, which is just smooth, and I don't really hear any difference that I can directly associate with Ayasugi. Other folks have done tests, but they'll use natural skin, and natural skin varies sheet by sheet. different thicknesses and different animals, as well as the dough can be slightly different, in their thickness and such. Fortunately, we have an advantage because we have two of basically the same instrument. These are our newest line of shamisen from Tokyo Gaki, the Bachido Rose. Here we have the deluxe, premium, whatever we're calling it, model here with Ayasugi Bori, the Ayasugi dough. And here we have our standard model, which is Maruuchi, smooth dough. Tokyo Gaki, the workers, they use jigs when making their dough. So these are basically as identical as it gets. The Hibiki synthetic skin is also identical sheet to sheet. I will be stretching them at exactly the same tension, so that will all be the same. The saw are basically the same, other than the chibukuro here is standard, and here we've got this sexy cutout, but I think we can agree that's not enough to affect what's going on down here. So this is as close to the perfect test as we can get. The only real variable is the Ayasugi here. So I say let's get these skinned up and head to the studio. And with that, 2 roses skinned up and ready for testing. To remove as many variables as possible, we'll be using the same nail for both shim-shams, as well as brand new strings. How we'll be capturing the tone is using 2 mics. One, we've got the Bluebird by Blue. That'll capture the warmth. Then we've got 2 Rode Stogies, the M5s. The stereo mics will be capturing the sharp clarity, the attack that we all love from shamisen. With that, lights off. Initially, this was supposed to only be an Ayasugi test video. However, after posting a little teaser on the Book of Faces, a member of the Bachido community, whose name I won't mention here, but he's Christopher Brown, suggested, why not also get shamisen with gold fittings, so you can see if that makes a difference. Well, we've gone this far. For the children, we did. And here it is. This shamisen has Ayasugi dough and the Kinbozo. Fun fact, Tokyo Gaki does not make Kinbozo shamisen without Ayasugi. As my partner says, it's like wearing an Armani jacket with thrift store sweatpants, as it were. Only with Ayasugi will they allow Kinbozo. So that's that. These two have Ayasugi, so we'll be using these two for the test. This has gold fittings, this does not. That will be our only variable. Without further expense, here we go. And there we have it. What do you think? Do you hear $2,000 worth of difference? If you do, write below and let me know. Specifically, if you do, answer the following questions. In the Ayasugi test video, is Ayasugi in sample A or sample B? And then, in sample X, is that A or B? It's one of those. That I guarantee you. Same thing for Kinbozo. Is Kinbozo in sample A or B? And is sample X A or B? Let me know below, and in a week or two or so, I'll compile the results and let you know what is what. I promise you there is no trick questions, or it's no shady business, as it were. Let me know what you think, and we'll check back in a week or two. Have fun!